Lepore, one other team I want to talk about real quick, and they have the second best odds of all the Canadian teams to win the Stanley Cup. That's the Edmonton Oilers.
I noticed that. Vegas likes Edmonton.
Who I think have had an absolute shit show of an offseason. And I am so fired up about this team in a bad way because it drives me nuts, Lepore. We've talked about Edmonton so many times on this podcast. This team should be so much better than it is. The best player in the world in his prime is on this roster. Leon Draisaitl, Hart Trophy winner on this roster. And this team, like to get swept in the first round last season by the Winnipeg Jets, who were without Nikolai Ehlers for half of that series. Like, it's just embarrassing. This team drives me nuts. And to see what they did this offseason, can we just quickly go over this real quick, Lepore? So Oilers fans kept telling me all offseason, and not even in the offseason, even going back to, the regular season and even during the playoffs, about all the cap space that they had heading into the offseason and how many changes they were going to make, and they were going to get so much better. You know what the Edmonton Oilers have done this offseason, Lepore? First, they signed Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to an 8-year, $41 million contract, which is fine. Making a shade over $5 million a year. That's totally fine. Then they traded Caleb Jones and a conditional third-round pick for a 38-year-old washed up. Yes, I called him washed up Duncan Keith.
Wow, Bruno.
Who still has 2 years and over $5.5 million left on his contract. So they ate the entire Duncan Keith cap hit. They didn't even get Chicago to take any of that money on themselves in terms of the actual.
And they gave up a young player.
And they gave up a young player and a draft pick. Just egregious. Then they lost Adam Larson to the Seattle Kraken, who signed a 4-year, $16 million contract with them. And
he's going to have a great season, by the way. Watch.
I think he is too.
He's going to be happy. He's going to be happy. He's going to have a great season. Watch out for. I'm intrigued to see what Larson's over/under numbers are going to be for the futures. But keep going on your rant, Bruno.
Yeah, no. I agree about Larson because there was rumblings that he just wasn't himself in Edmonton, and going back to the whole Larson for Hall swap. And
exactly.
It just didn't. And even though he was solid last year specifically, he just wasn't. It seemed like he just wasn't himself, just based on some of the reports that we've seen out there. But yeah, to continue this rant. And then everyone, talking about how they're going to upgrade their goaltending, and that, that's been one of their main areas of weakness. Lepore, they're running it back with the same tandem. They re-signed 39-year-old Mike Smith, and I get it. He had a great season last year, a little resurgence. I believe he put up a .923 save percentage. But are you actually going to bet on Mike Smith at 39 years old to have a similar season as he had last year, and he only played 30-something games? You're really relying on that? And then Mikko Koskinen, you're running it back with Mikko Koskinen? So you're running it back with the same goaltending tandem? This is what Ken Holland's doing out here. And then Lepore gets even better. It gets even better.
The rumors are trying to get rid of Koskinen.
With all that cap space, Lepore, Ken Holland, the great Ken Holland, who inherited 7 Hall of Famers when he took over as GM of the Red Wings, 7 Hall of Famers Bruno's he inherited. Deep. This great executive
7, that's the number.
Who we love to call one of the best sports executives in North America, who I believe actually won an award at one point as one of the greatest sports executives in North American sports. He committed $65 million to Zach Hyman, Tyson Barrie, and Cody fucking Ceci. $65 million. And then Lepore didn't end there. It didn't end there. You know what he did after that? Darnell Nurse. I love Darnell Nurse. Great player. Had a career season last year. Scored a ton of goals. But then he gave Darnell Nurse an 8-year, $74 million extension. Darnell Nurse is making $9.25 million a year starting the year after next.
Yeah.
Lepore, man, you got to help me make sense of this, because this team is essentially running it back with the same roster. They've added Zach Hyman, which is sure that's an upgrade, but you're running it back with the same goaltending. Their defense core, I think we can all agree, has gotten worse. So what the hell is this team doing, Lepore?
You have a pressure on me to try to explain to Bruno.
I'm at a loss for words with this fucking team.
I'm with you. I don't. So wait, just to be clear though, Bruno, you won't be betting on the Oilers at 22-1 to win the Stanley Cup.
No,
just to confirm.
You know what? It's funny because it's like the Connor McDavid factor. That's almost like even going back to like Pittsburgh and Washington. It's like, why not just throw some money on Connor McDavid carrying this franchise on his back, which he's been doing his whole career. But no, I'm staying away from the Oilers at 22.
The division is shit too, again, like we said. So that's
a
come
good
out.
point.
It wouldn't be that shot. And I'm sure that helps their math. But yeah, no, the Oilers, I don't know. I wouldn't touch that one. But yeah, like, and even with them, like the one thing that jumped out to me is like in and out, right? Like Larson, solid season last year, out. And then CC in. It's like weird. And then the whole thing too with Keith, I'm going to watch a lot of the Oilers this year, like with the intention of keeping my eye on Keith. Like, I mean, the guy's got a lot of pride. Everyone loves Duncan Keith. He's like a total gym rat. I listened to this thing once about how hard he works in the offseason, like what his day's like. Like, it makes no sense how active this guy is. So he's got pride that way. Like, I expect him to be okay. And I'm kind of rooting for him. But that's one of those ones. It's gonna take a while for me. And this is like the geek thing. It's going to take a while for me to get used to him in an Oilers jersey.
That's going to be bizarre.
Like that. That's weird, man. Like Doug, like future Hall of Famer, Conn Smythe winner with the Blackhawks. Just, you don't really picture him in that jersey. You see him in an Oilers jersey. But I think that division altogether is going to be fun, man. Like, there's like, good luck trying to pick the top 4 teams in that division in order. Like, you have an expansion team. You have Edmonton, who we just talked about. You have a Calgary team that underachieved last year. You had a Vancouver team that went through COVID and Pettersson being hurt last year and all these other question marks. It's good. The California teams, I mean, like, as I said before, some people think LA is sneaky good. San Jose's got star power. Like, I'm not going to say I expect anything from them, but like, I mean, they're never an easy team to play against. I wouldn't call them that because of the star power they have. So really, I mean, it's a weird division all around. So like, maybe from a betting perspective on who's going to win the division, we'll see the odds on that one, because you might get some good ones on a team that actually does have a chance.
Yeah, no, you nailed it with that Pacific division. Like, besides Vegas, who I think we can pretty much all agree on is going to win that division. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I'm just saying more playoff wise, like a fluke thing 100%. happens. A team can come out, beat Vegas or something.
Lepore, I think after Vegas, it's a total crapshoot. Like, sure, right off the Ducks, who they suck and they're rebuilding and figuring things out. LA, like you said, is getting better. San Jose still has some legit star talent on that roster. Then you look at all those Canadian teams in Seattle, it really is a crapshoot. Like, I could see after Vegas, like any two of those teams getting the second and third spot for a guaranteed playoff spot. I mean, obviously there's the wild card as well, but I think, in terms of the top 3 in that division after Vegas, like it's really anyone's guess at this point who's going to fill that 2 and 3 spot.
If it was right now, like, would we bet the Oilers
to make the playoffs?
To come 2?
Oh, to come 2. Oh man, that's
I think I would, to be honest.
I probably would as well, just because they have the best player in the league. Yeah. And I think over the course of the regular season, I mean, obviously we've now realized, following the Toronto Maple Leafs for the last number of years, that the regular season and playoffs are 2 totally different things. I think over the course of the regular season, Connor McDavid putting up over 100 points again, they should be able to finish as the 2 seed in that division.
Yeah, like, I don't see them falling all the way down to like a wild card battle or anything, like barring injuries or anything like that. So
yeah, no, for sure.
Always fun. The Edmonton Oilers are always fun.
Oh, I love it. And I can't wait, Lepore. You think that's the only rant I'm going to have on the Edmonton Oilers? Like, man, I feel like there's going to be some moments this season that are just going to fire me up. And I
don't know what would be worse for you, the Oilers winning the cup or the Canadians winning the cup.
Oh man, Lepore.
Who would it be for me? For me, it'd be Fleury Cup.
Marc-Andre Fleury Stanley Cup, or just Chicago in the Cup final. Yeah. Oh, that would be just
Chicago. Yeah,
podcast
Chicago,
ratings
Montreal
through
Stanley
the
Cup
roof.
final. We got to shut
Lepore
it down.
Just losing his mind. But yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to the Stanley Cup odds. Like we said, like I don't think we're going anything lower than the 50 to 1 range looking at the board.